nothing fancy component-wise here. I mean, I think the game's just, okay. I do think it's kind of neat that on the back of the buildings, it actually creates like a horizon of the city if you follow it along all the way from A building all the way to the L building. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, I don't think the components are all that fancy to talk about.
If there's one thing about the components that just doesn't work, is that there is nothing to keep track of your actions, and we really needed that because we would completely forget which action we were on. So we ended up just using cubes to keep track of that. I wish they would have included something in the box for that.
I like how the dials on the player boards do spin around, and that it'll increase your buildings with some of them, the actions you can use, or possibly even force you to sell. And that's what I think's neat about the game, is that you do feel a bit under pressure to try to use your own buildings because you don't necessarily want to lose some of them because they are going to be valuable, or you're going to want to try to use them later. But that's also what's neat, is that as you're spinning it, you know that that gives a greater chance that your opponent is going to want to use your buildings. Because when it gets especially into that one category where you do the 4 actions and you get a franc, if your opponent uses that building, they get the franc. So even though they're paying you 1 franc to use that building, all they're doing is just really getting it right back. Plus, they're able to use your building 4 times. So you gotta be real cautious about how many buildings you let go and slide into that category, because that just gives a greater chance that your opponent is going to steal them from you.
In this game, you don't take resources from the supply and return them to the supply. Instead, your player board has a warehouse on it with cubes that represent the different resources. And you move them according to, whether you're losing resources or gaining resources. And I just think that's really unique, and I enjoy that part of the game.
What I'm enjoying about the game is that there is no surefire strategy of winning every single game. And the reason is because your opponents can use your buildings at any time. So even though you could say, well, I buy A building, I buy B building, I buy C building, and that does increase my chances of winning, you don't know if you're ever going to be able to use those buildings, because your opponent could end up using them buildings, and throughout the entire game you may never even get a chance. So that's what I think keeps the replayability high, and it definitely keeps the game fresh.
If you have Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, don't feel like you don't need this game. They're very different. They're unique enough that I enjoy both of them, and I might choose one or the other, on any given day. This one seems to be a bit more mathy and a little harder to learn, but I really enjoy both games quite a bit.
What I'm enjoying is that publishers are starting to realize that couples like the game an awful lot. And Zman has created the Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small. They've created this one. And I like this because my wife and I game pretty much every day. And some games just do not scale well from multiplayer down to 2-player. So this game is perfectly designed for us to be able to sit down and enjoy it because it's set up specifically for 2 players. And it's wonderful. We've taught other couples how to play this game, and they've enjoyed it. So therefore, it is a game that I am going to recommend. Now, do I think that it's better than Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small? No, I would actually choose that game before I would choose this one. However, I do think it's good enough that you could own both of them because, like I said, it is specifically geared for couples.
Bye!
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.